Okay, thank you so much. You had an interview recently which I thought was really brilliant, and you shared some of the things that worked under the Buhari-Osinbajo administration, demonstrating how when government is serious about supporting a sector, it can truly transform the sector. You gave the example of the vice president at the time leading a delegation of government officials and private sector players to Silicon Valley to demonstrate to investors that they were serious, that the government was back in the fintech space.
Yes.
Now that hasn't happened, of course, under this administration. It's still early days. But I'm coming to the question now.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things, maybe I should ask, that this administration has done to provide that enabling support to fintechs to thrive as you did under the Buhari administration? Yes. And if they're not doing it yet, I want you to give some recommendations, because to be honest, you thrived. There was a time, there was a boom, and it's not for a lack of ideas or innovations or talented people which you identify as the biggest resource that Nigeria has, and I agree with you. But there are challenges in areas of support, in investment, in an enabling environment to thrive, which they enjoyed under the last administration. I'd like you to share with us, number one, if there are things being done under this administration, and number two, what your recommendations would be as we experienced under the last.
Absolutely. I would say in this administration, again, it's early days, like you said, but the early signs are there. Right, a member of the startup ecosystem, a very respected member, somebody I consider my mentor, Dr. Bosun Tijani, was appointed a minister. That is a big deal. We didn't get that honor in the last administration.
He's from the space.
He's directly from the space, and he's taking a big interest in a bunch of our biggest problems, which have been issues for a very long time: talent, connectivity, artificial intelligence. Now, is there more government can do? Absolutely. And we will never stop asking government for things. But I still think that it's important to, again, make the point I was trying to make. Government doesn't do things of their own volition. They don't have the ideas. It is us, private sector, nationalistic and patriotic private sector, that will engage government and tell government what to do. The result, that trip didn't just come out of Professor Osinbajo's head.
Yeah.
I, as a member of the National Industrial Committee, alongside members of the industry who constituted the Advisory Council on Technology, made the suggestion, and he responded to it. I think with this administration, a lot of the primary issues are really around regulation. Now, the biggest issue that I have right now is that, with the last administration, because of low interest rates and so on globally, and relatively lower interest rates in Nigeria, you were able to do a good job regulating the fintech space from the perspective of a banking side. And I think we've done a good enough job of that. We have rails, we have volumes and all of that. Yeah. It is now time to innovate on the security side, the capital market side, because that is the side of the equation that is lagging behind. We also have to start thinking about insurance and risk. We have to innovate on the insurance side. I'm very happy with some of the personnel changes, but I think they need to be moving faster. They've done some interesting things when it comes to digital assets, but there's a lot of need for us to now think carefully about what it is that they can do in terms of lowering the bar for advisors, to enable more young people to be able to come onto the scene with new products and new ideas, right? In terms of helping people to be able to create new products that enable savings, right? That enable better assets lending, asset-backed lending. Yeah. There are a lot of opportunities for example, another area is, there's a lot of our diaspora, they're looking for dollar-based products. Yes. The innovation of the dollar-backed bond is one thing, but why can't private sector also issue bonds in dollars if they need dollars? Because there's a lot of our diaspora that are looking to do that. Yeah. How have we utilized the free zones? We're working on something now called the digital economic zones, where we're trying to help create a platform where people who want to come into the country, especially now that the currency is much cheaper and it's a better investment environment for them, they can come in and have their funds protected and rules created that favor them, and be able to get speedy justice in the event of any disputes. And we're pioneering that through Eternal. So there's a lot that the current administration can do.
Okay. You see, when people finish dying, that we will understand that these reforms are killing people. Because I get what you're doing. I get the trickle-down economics. The currency is cheaper. There's been a devaluation now. But the argument is it never trickles down. The deregulation... That's not true. No, hang on a minute. And I'm going to give you a empirical stuff.
Okay, tell me.
Under Reagan, when Reagan deregulated the oil sector, America pushed up child poverty. The contestation between the Republicans and the Democrats all these years has always been the case of trickle-down economics that never really trickled down.
It pushed up child poverty in the short term.
And I get this.
But if you look in the 90s when Bill Clinton came, you saw the reverb effect.
No, because Bill Clinton pushed forward to more growth.
Because he had the fiscal room to do so.
More capital injection in the economy. He brought about more projects. He solidified
because he had the fiscal room to do so.
Industry. But it doesn't go to the poor people. So when you look at it, I get this. Yeah, money is cheap. It's going to favor you people. It's not going to favor the poor people out of the street.
I don't think that's true. Let me do some math. Let's do some math. Right? Yeah. $10,000, right? Of investment into the country at 306, right, is about 30 million, if my math is correct, right? The same $10,000. I'm sorry, no, it's not. It's about 3 million. Sorry, at the time, 306 naira to the dollar. That same 10,000 at 1,670 is about 16 million. At the old minimum wage, which is where I personally have my own quibbles, we need to raise the minimum rate so that employers learn to be more productive. Labor wages are too cheap in Nigeria.
Manufacturing is saying they can't even pay.
They need to automate and hire less people.
No, wait.
They are not innovating.
No, wait a minute.
That is their problem, not the government.
Wait a minute. Did you see the minimum wage conversation when it was going on?
I did.
Manufacturers and employers of labor said they couldn't even pay. Even this 70,000 is a struggle for them because, one, you have no economic fecundity. There's no economic viability as we speak.
It's not true. The costs are high. The costs are high.
They are not innovating. The economy is doing so well and people are doing so well.
No, it's not about the economy doing so well. Yes. It's about productivity.
Where's the productivity in the economy?
Well, it should come from the employers. It should come from the business people. They are not doing their jobs. Look, let me finish my math argument because there's a tendency to make arguments that are skewed to one side, but not to actually think about the economy in a macro sense.
Show me the productivity.
So, no, just listen to me. At the new minimum wage with 60 million naira, you can employ 85 more people than you would at a 30,000 minimum wage with the new exchange rate. What we need to do...
Discounting for inflation?
Well, we're not. This inflation is a function of supply. It's not a function of money. If you like, create as much money as you like.
Just land your point.
So my larger point is, at the end of the day, the economy needs to be more productive. The employers are not as productive as they need to be. That's why they're hiring people. The people themselves are not as skilled as they need to be, which is why we have this problem. The exchange rate will not fix that. Even if the exchange rate is 1 naira to $1, these issues will not go away. This is hard work. Employers must do. Manufacturers must do. The schools, the universities must do. They must move with technology. They must increase productivity. The exchange rate is just baselining us with the rest of the world. It's allowing us to be globally competitive, and this is important.
Iyinoluwa, let me just ask you, well, global competition has its own issues with all that crisis in Kenya and all of that. I don't know whether you want to address that.
Yeah, Africa is learning the hard way that it has to be globally competitive.
Yeah, but